When Allah has chosen you, the devil sends people to test you. I left the religion when I was in my early teens, and I got into trouble like most teenagers did. So I went to parties, made a lot of mistakes, and they were mistakes that I paid for dearly. I found myself in the company of friends that led me down a dangerous path. I found myself smoking weed, drinking alcohol, doing all of the things that took me further and further away from any sort of spirituality at all. And then I became someone that I didn't even recognize. And then I found people along the way that were even worse for me. I had lost my baby, I lost my child, and it was something that was very difficult for me to deal with because of the way that I lost my baby. I struggled with PTSD, depression, anxiety, many mental health problems. I even found myself by the river one time, wanting to kill myself. I thought my life wasn't worth anything at all. I thought there was no way I could recover from all of this damage, all of this hurt, all of this pain. And the app was all I had. I would speak in French. It was truly all that kept me going. And alhamdulillah, I found someone on that app who was a Muslim. And they were a patient person. They sent me a recitation, and the first time I listened to that recitation, I could not stop crying. I felt something in my heart, something inside of me that told me this is what I was meant to be. I was meant to be a Muslim. I would tell this person, okay, stop talking about Islam now, I don't want anything to do with Islam, even though I knew that it was the truth. We spoke about the Trinity, and I saw clarity, complete clarity for once when it came to my religion. From then on, I went back and forth with Islam. I would read the Quran. I would just feel such deep emotions that I've never felt before. I felt as though I had a friend that I was searching for all my life, and I didn't know I needed them. I would curse the name of God. That's what I used to do. I would ask him, why? Why me? Why do I have to go through this? I don't see other people struggling like me. And it is only when I became Muslim that I realized this was a test. Perhaps God was using me so that I can show others that you can come out of any situation. You can come out of the deepest, darkest holes that the devil puts you in. You can come out. It's never too late. I used to have moments where I would think about all of the things that I've done, all of the sins that I've committed. But Allah has forgiven me. He can forgive anyone. And it doesn't matter how far you've gone, even the most heinous of sins, He will still take you back. But when I just became a Muslim, I didn't know how to pray. I didn't know anything. And I just thought, I'm just going to go to the mosque. I went up to the women's section, and I asked the lady if she could help me. She didn't understand English, but she pointed to someone else. And she is one of my really good friends now. She helped me to learn how to pray. She showed a complete stranger unconditional love. There are people out there who will take time out of their lives, who will go the extra mile to explain things to you, to show you how to develop your deen, to develop your imam, how to practice Islam and to connect with Allah. There are people out there who will do that for you. As a revert, God has given you this journey because He knows you can handle a difficult journey. I did feel judged a little bit sometimes, but that's not a reason that you should stop trying to practice Islam. It's not supposed to be easy. The Prophet's journeys were not easy, but look at the great example that they set for other people. So I think as born Muslims, you should try to open your hearts a little bit more, open your minds a little bit more. We're not the people that we used to be, and I don't think that people should be judged based on what they have done. They should be judged on their character and their willingness to change, their willingness to develop and become a better person.
We started talking about Islam, and then, I said, I need proof. How can I be expected to believe in something without proof, physical proof? I need physical. He says, okay, cool. He went up onto his little bookshelf, handed me the Quran. He says, there's your proof. And he was talking to me about ayahs, talking to me about revelations, talking to me about, prophecies of the Prophet ﷺ, and he's talking about these, and I'm thinking, I can't contradict this. But it's one of them ones where, you're stubborn with yourself, so you're like, You don't want it to be right, but it is. And that's what it was for me, because at this point I've never considered religion, ever. And a lot of my friends were Muslim anyway. So Islam's never been a bad thing to me, because I've always known Muslims who are good guys, but we never really spoke about Islam, because your boys growing up, they're just you guys. You never talk about religion. You never see them as a colour, or they're just your people. People you grew up with.
I took my shahada, got a little certificate and everything. It was like, done it now, right, it's done. And then the guy just went, right, we're going to the mosque. I was like, oh, no! I was like, no, don't worry, I'll just go next week, it's fine. I was really worried about what other people would think about me, like whether people would take me seriously as a Muslim. And at the time, bro, I had like the skinniest jeans you ever did see. I had a vest on and my tattoos out. I had like piercing through my nose and things like that. So we're going in the car. The people in the car were going to whispering to the sheikh that gave me the shahada. He was like, should we put some clothes on him and stuff? It was really good actually, because the sheikh said no, they should, the community should see that people like him and like the rest of British people, they're becoming Muslim, and that's normal. I was still so scared. I didn't know how to pray, but what was cool was he paired me up with someone straight away, and he met with me once a day to go to the masjid. So I became familiar with the masjid.
I don't have any Muslims where I'm from. I had never met a single Muslim till this point in my life, at 26 years old or so. Listen to the preacher. He brings up randomly Muslims one day, and he's like, don't do like them Muslims do, and never humiliate yourself and put your face on the ground. He's like, we're Christians. We get on our knees and we ask God. We don't put our face in the dirt. When I opened up and I saw Jesus prostrating there in the Bible, I said, how dare he say humiliate? Because, even though I don't worship Jesus, he's my, my role model. I would understand if he said humble yourself, but he said humiliate. And so I had this feeling of rebellion to the pastor. I said, how dare you? So I was like, you know what? I'm going to do what Jesus did. I'm going to put my head on the ground and I'm going to ask God to guide me. When it happened, everything was clear. There was no doubt in my mind that God was one. I actually had a Quran on my shelf. That first page I started reading, I could not stop crying. I knew in my heart, after I said the testimony of faith, this was truer than even my own name. There was
Ashhadu
Allah
ilaha
ilaha
illallah
illallah
wa ashhadu
anna
Muhammadan
abduhu
wa rasuluhu. I bear witness that there is no God but Allah, and I bear witness that Prophet Muhammad is the messenger and servant of Allah. MashaAllah, sister, you're a Muslim, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept your effort. And I pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that to guide you further, and inshallah give you the best in this world as well as the akhirah, and grant you a place in paradise, inshallah, sister.